Probably for people of my generation, it really is about finding that sense of stability in your life. And my wife and I, it took us a long time to get to that place where we were comfortable, to really comfortable in ourselves, and with our place in life, so that we felt like we were ready to, take the next step. I think that's probably the biggest challenge for my generation. So I started my career at Drew Napier. I was working for Davinder Singh, Senior Counsel, in his disputes practice. I had brilliant colleagues, I have a wonderful mentor. Many of them are still friends to this day, but I think the one lesson I took away from that was more of a broader life lesson. Like, I really re-examine my relationship between work and life, and the right balance to strike between the two. I think in many ways that has stuck with me through the rest of my career until today. The way I like to solve problems is really just running with it. You get started and you kind of go off intuition for a little bit. As things move along, some things work, some things don't, and then you pivot, you experiment, and eventually you're going to get to the answer. I've been around the block, I've done many different things. And I think at the end of the day, I just want to have left a bit of a mark, I'm not someone who's obsessed with legacy, but I like the idea of the fact that, I made a positive contribution to society, and whether it be big or small, something that I can leave behind and my children and their grandchildren can be proud of. So if you had asked me this question 15 years ago, it might have been like fountain pens, and then 10 years ago, probably like keyboards. But if you ask me today, it's probably coffee. Everywhere I go for work, I travel for work or for holiday, I'll bring back a bag of coffee beans with me, and I really enjoy just making coffee for myself and my wife as well. My spouse is my rock. My wife, she is brilliant, amazing. She's this wonderfully erudite, inquisitive woman that I don't think I would be the person I am today without her. And she's also made me a much more generous person and kinder person. She's my better half, and I don't think I would be doing a lot of what I'm doing without her support and encouragement. So I was an only child, and my parents had me quite late in life. In some ways, it's a bit of a lonely experience growing up. I didn't have siblings or anything, but I found ways to entertain myself. So I was a bit of a bookworm. I had my Legos, and for the most part, that was my childhood. I was very lucky that my parents retired when I was quite young, and I got to spend a lot of time with them growing up, right? From the age of 10 onwards, my parents were home most of the time. So that was a very memorable part of my childhood experience. I think my parents were actually aesthetic. We've always voted for the opposition. My parents were both civil servants, they were teachers, but they had no qualms about expressing their views. And I grew up in that kind of environment. So I think when I first told them that I was volunteering with the Workers' Party, and then now stepping forward into a bigger role, I think they were beyond ecstatic. I grew up in Aljunied. I spent a lot of my childhood there, so I think it was a natural thing for me to join, to wear light blue, and I think my parents were super ecstatic. My wife, on the other hand, was probably a little apprehensive, about me taking on a bigger role. The volunteering she was happy with, but I think stepping up is a whole different matter. And but I think she's come around now, so hopefully I've got her full backing. So it's actually this little stuffed animal that my wife got for me maybe 1 or 2 months into us first meeting, into our dating journey. And I bring it everywhere with me. Maybe not to work every day, but every time I travel for work, It's always with me and it's in my hotel room. It's like a little symbol of our relationship, and it feels like my wife is always with me even when we're far apart. Yeah, so I actually joined the WP as a volunteer about a month or 2 months before the last general election in 2020. I had a feeling it was around the corner, so I just put my name down on the form and sent it in and forgot about it. And a couple of weeks later, they got in touch with me. And that's how I got my start as a kind of walking the ground, dropping flyers in mailboxes. So it was the election season, everything was going at like an insane pace. It was the middle of COVID as well, so it was a very, very unique experience. So that was when I first started with the WP back then. I really think that the key word here is empathy. Let's have Singapore and Singaporeans as a whole who are more empathetic, who are more generous, who give their fellow Singaporeans the benefit of the doubt, and also work cohesively and collectively as a society to uplift ourselves as a whole and not leave anybody behind. I think that would be a Singapore I would be extremely proud of.